Hi, it's Sally-Shakti, your visionary writing guide, and welcome to Tarot and Astrology for Visionary Writers for the week of Monday the 22nd to Sunday the 28th of May 2023. I'd like to, in this video, do a bit more of a deep dive into Gemini season, as the sun has just entered Gemini yesterday on Sunday the 21st, and also to look at how that is showing up for us in the week ahead. And I also feel to acknowledge on this day, the 22nd of May, a strong family connection rising up in me on this day. Today is the birthday of my paternal grandfather, who was born in the 1930s, who passed away in the early 2000s. And I'm also very much present with the very recent passing of my maternal grandmother, who left her body in the early hours of yesterday morning, just before the sun moved into Taurus. And as far as I can tell, she died very peacefully in her sleep in hospital. And she was ready to leave her body and move on from this world. My grandmother was a Gemini sun, Gemini birth. Her birthday is coming up on the 1st of June, which is in less than 10 days' time. And she would have turned 94 at that time. So really celebrating the longevity of her life, and my gratitude for having had grandparents close to me and as part of my life and my lived experience and my family, right up until now, in my early 40s, which is a real gift and blessing. So in today's video, I am going to deep dive into Gemini season. The sun has just entered into Gemini, and we also have the support of Mercury now being direct. Gemini is a season that might feel particularly strong for you as a visionary writer or creative. Gemini connects us with Mercury, who is, in my opinion, and my experience, is activating our DNA and our channels and our capacities to download new light codes and light frequencies that are coming from not only our sun, but also our galaxy and the cosmos and beyond. We recently had, at the end of last week, we had the sun in the late degrees of Taurus, activating the Pleiadian points. So we have lots of energetic downloads and new light codes and frequencies available to us and coming through for us to channel and to embody and to draw into our creative process as visionary writers and creatives. And these are energies that are completely brand new to us in our current physical incarnation, our current physical experience. We have the opportunity to call in new forms, new concepts, new possibilities that we haven't seen before in our lifetimes. These energies are coming in from our solar system, from the galaxy, from the universe and the cosmos beyond. And Mercury, especially in Gemini season, is lighting us up and opening up our channels to receive those downloads. We have strong capacity in this season to open up our frequency field and connect greater capacity of our DNA helix to receive new information, new messages, new channelings that we will then alchemize through our physical bodies and through our creative practice to bring new ideas, concepts, visions, and possibilities, including forms and structures, into being, into birth, and into the world as we create what we are co-creating and moving forward with and moving forward into. This is also a strong theme for us over these 3 years, where we have Saturn in Pisces. The strong invitation of Saturn in Pisces is always for us to open up to otherworldly possibilities and information, and to create new forms and structures through our creative languages and through our creative experimentations and reinterpretations of the forms and structures that we have been exposed to and taught to work with. We're here as visionary writers and creatives to explore and birth and bring in and create new forms, new structures, new possibilities. And we do that through receiving that information as light codes, light frequencies, downloads, channeling, receiving that into our body through our etheric channels, and then alchemizing that through our physical bodies into our creative practice, so that we can participate and co-create new forms and new structures, new thoughts, new possibilities, new openings in the physical world. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here to do as visionary writers and creatives at this time in humanity's evolution. So we're going to be receiving a lot of support for that, for our process, for our creative alchemy throughout Gemini season, as the sun will be illuminating those areas of our life, of our natal chart, and of our capacity to light up our own channels, or for our channels to be lit up and to receive new downloads, new cosmic information that we get to alchemize and bring through into form in this world. As a visionary writer or creative, you may find, if you look at your natal chart, your natal astrology chart, you may find that you have strong Gemini energies, or you have strong Mercury, you might have strong third house energies. All of those placements will support your path and your purpose here as a visionary writer, particularly, or a visionary creative. It's opening us up to these channels of new possibility that are coming through from the cosmos, and illuminating our creative capacity to connect and communicate our ideas and new thought forms, new possibilities, new structures with readers and audiences and communities, so that we can be part of that seeding of change and the seeding of new forms and new structures through our creative capacity and through our creative alchemy. That is our path and our purpose here. I can imagine, if you're like me, that that's what lights you up about being in this world, about your creative vision for your life and for your writing and for your creative practice. Gemini season also, for those of us with strong Gemini energies in our charts and strong third house energies, and who are channeling these cosmic light codes, Gemini also brings a challenge, really strong challenge for me, that I find in Gemini season is to stay grounded, and to particularly not get stuck in the overthinking, the over-analysis, the the too much thinking, the too much talking, the too much of the mind chatter that can actually hinder my progress and my my ability to create and to co-create on this earth. So Gemini, of course, Gemini is the sign of polarities, and it has this duality for us as visionary writers and creatives. On the one hand, it's inviting us to open up our capacity and our channels to receive new light codes, new frequencies of information, and to alchemize those light codes and bring them forward into the earth. On the other hand, it is going to be challenging us with too much thinking, too much speaking, over-analyzing, that state of analysis paralysis that we can get into, where we don't quite know what to choose and how to move forward. So these are going to be strong polarity themes for us, perhaps throughout Gemini season. And particularly those might be showing up for us in this week ahead. We're still currently in the energy of what astrologers call a fixed grand cross. I don't want to speak too much about that and get too complex, but essentially what we have is all of the fixed signs in the different elements, so earth, air, fire, water. All of the fixed signs are being illuminated and activated by planetary presence at the moment in a cross formation, which creates some tension for us and a pause point to reflect. We have Jupiter, which has just entered Taurus. We have Mars, which has just entered Leo. We have Pluto, which is just retrograding back over the beginning degrees of Aquarius. And we have the South Node in Scorpio, which is opposite to the North Node in Taurus. So we've got this cross of energies going on in the fixed signs, which is like a stop sign for us. So we've had the invitation and the strong intention setting opportunity of the Taurus New Moon. And that Taurus New Moon has taken us swiftly into Gemini season. So with the support of Gemini, the movement, the possibilities that are activated with Gemini, the expansion of our earthly potential that is activated through Jupiter in Taurus that we're going to be working with through the next 12 months. We also have our creative capacity to ignite and to express, especially through self-expression and creativity, with Mars moving into Leo. We now have Mars in a fire sign for the first time in a long time. So we have that Mars energy picking up the momentum and the ability to move forward with that creative fire energy. But that energy is all at the moment counteracting each other and has brought us to a standstill, even after we've just set our intentions with the Taurus New Moon, and we might have seen and felt we might have felt new possibilities opening up for us, and we might have seen clearly our next steps or our new direction. And then we've gone straight into this Grand Cross energy, and that's carrying on through into this week, where we also have lots of square aspects this week. So we're really in an energy that is still quite tense. We've got Mars squaring Jupiter on Tuesday, and that's followed by the Moon squaring Jupiter on Wednesday, when the Moon and Mars will be together in the sky. But what that means is that when the Moon comes through to square Jupiter, and we're still feeling the energy of this fixed Grand Cross, the Moon is going to make it feel more personal for us as well. And that's happening on Wednesday. You might already be feeling that happening now. Then on Thursday, we've got Venus squaring Chiron. So again, we've got this, we've got Venus, who is the ruler of Taurus, squaring Chiron, squaring Chiron, which is in Aries. And that, again, that tension between what we need and what we desire, and what we're still healing, what we're still working through. By the end of the week on Saturday, we have the waxing half moon, the first quarter moon, and that means that, again, the moon is going to be squaring the sun. So there's a tension there. There is the beginning of the illumination of what needs to change for us in order to move forward into our next intentions. So this might feel like a week where we have had glimpses at where we want to go and what we want to create in our lives and in our practice. And then we may be feeling the tension of things that are going to perhaps show up for us that need our attention in order for us to move forward into what it is that we're co-creating now and next. Specifically for me, one way that that's been showing up has been to see very clearly my next steps and my next desired intentions, and then to immediately track back into contraction around whether I feel that that's realistic, whether I feel that I really deserve that, whether I'm truly open to receive this next level of abundance that I can see as being available for me. So noticing that, if that's also your experience, noticing that with compassion for yourself and with an awareness of again, we're still in this Gemini energy. The Gemini energy, the shadow of Gemini, can show up as the narratives that we have been taught, the narratives that we've inherited, the narratives we've believed, the narratives that we've told ourselves and have bought into. And as I've recently been dived back into Louise L. Hay, You Can Heal Your Life, and actually started reading it from the beginning. And these narratives are strong. These narratives that we tell ourselves, that we've been taught, that we've believed, are what creates our world. They're what creates our realities. And of course, as visionary writers and creatives, we are here to channel and alchemize and co-create new narratives, new structures, new possibilities. But the work begins with ourselves. The work begins with looking at what are our own narratives and what are the narratives that we have been taught or inherited. What are the narratives that have limited our self-empowerment, perhaps because they have been imposed on us through the capitalist, patriarchal, colonial systems and structures that we have lived in. We're all here not only to create a new external reality. In order to do that, the first step is to alchemize our own reality and to become aware of our own narratives and become aware of the narratives that we have been holding and believing and perpetuating that have created the world that we experience, as well as the wider world around us. We're all here. Every single person on this planet is here and is participating and is co-creating the world that we see. So the more that we as visionary writers and creatives can open up our channels to new possibilities and alchemize those new possibilities in ourselves, and then co-create with those new possibilities to create new forms and structures, the more that can shift. But we only get to do that through our own internal process first and foremost, through noticing how those harmful narratives have showed up in our own lives and have limited our perspectives and possibilities for what it's possible to create, what it's possible to receive, who it's possible to be. And let's not forget that those narratives have been created and perpetuated very deliberately, very forcefully, and very violently. We all will have ancestors and our own lived experiences who have been violently oppressed by those narratives. Our work is to be present to those narratives as they show up in our lives and to notice them with compassion for ourselves. And then from there, to begin to choose new narratives that we are choosing to co-create from a more conscious and intentional co-creative practice, knowing that we are participants, knowing that we are active participants, actively participating in co-creating the world, the wider world, and our own world experience, our own life experience through our thought patterns and our beliefs. And that one of the most powerful things we can do to change anything in the external world is to do our own inner work from a place of compassion, because that's only where the change will happen. We have had too many narratives telling us we're not good enough, we're not doing enough, we're doing it wrong. So many narratives that have kept us out of our power. Gemini season is going to be a strong invitation and opportunity for us to open to receive more of our own power, more of our own wisdom. And yet that's going to come with the dual opportunity and the dual invitation to do that inner work, to notice the narratives that have been working through us in our lives, and that we get to choose differently. Certainly this week, and perhaps at least until Mercury comes out of its own shadow on the 31st of May, so perhaps until at least the beginning of June, that may feel sticky, that may feel challenging, and that may feel, you may feel the tension. I would definitely recommend making the journal your friend during this time, because one of our shadow behaviors in Gemini season can be to verbally download onto other people in ways that are not necessarily supportive for them, or even for our own transformation and healing, because we can often lack clarity and begin to go around in circles with that over talking, over analyzing, overthinking. So keep the journal to hand, make the journal your friend throughout this time. Stay open to receiving through your channels of receptivity. I would really recommend a meditation practice where you allow your chakras, your energy field, your DNA to open up to receive the new light codes, the new downloads that are available to you now, and to ground that through your own body in creative practice, and also through journaling, through staying connected with what are the narratives that are showing up for you, what are the narratives that are playing out through you. And I'd also recommend bringing in a practice to keep us connected with the Taurus energies that we have just been moving through, so that we don't just go straight off and up into the ether and unground ourselves in this Gemini season. So a practice that I've begun to adopt and develop is to ask my body to show me a yes and to show me a no. And then to, once I'm clear about my body's response for a yes and my body's response for a no, that it's a physical response that you will feel or see or notice somewhere through perhaps movement or another way that your body wants to show you. Once I'm clear on my body's yes and my body's no, checking in with my body when I have decisions to make, because, you know, as I said, I've had these insights as to what's becoming possible, and then I've had the contraction as to not feeling ready, not feeling worthy, all of those old narratives showing up. So checking in with my body, is this the right thing for me to step into? And seeing my body's response, and knowing that even though I'm not fully feeling a yes for this, because I've got these narratives that are still present in my mind, that my body is giving me a clear answer and it's giving me a clear yes. So can I hold, again, Gemini, can I hold that duality? And can I take steps towards what I am moving into, even if it feels scary or too much or too big for me to hold? Trusting my body with the wisdom that, yes, this is for me, and yes, the time is now. So that's also a practice that I would invite you into throughout this Gemini season, to listen to and begin to trust in dialogue with your body. When you have decisions to make, that Gemini might be overcomplicating or over-analyzing, bring it back to your body. What does your body say? And if what your body says is in conflict with what your mind is saying, can you hold that paradox in compassion, with compassion for yourself, and take the necessary next steps at a pace that is appropriate for you, and make your decision from a more informed perspective around what is showing up for you and what are the narratives that are playing through you. Are you going to choose to continue to follow those narratives, or are you going to choose a new direction and a new set of possibilities? So let's see who's showing up in the tarot to support us with our journey through Gemini season and through these tricky energies this week. We have the Knight of Pentacles. And the Knight of Pentacles is, I think, again, a very, very beautiful and supportive card for our energy this week. Knight of Pentacles asks us to move at our own pace, which might be slower than we think we should be moving at, which might be, we might be moving at a slower pace than we think we need to be moving at. But Knight of Pentacles asks us to slow down, to move at our own pace, and but in so doing, to sow the seeds for longevity, to sow the seeds for a future foundation that is sustainable for us. So really, with Knight of Pentacles, it's an earth-based energy. Again, we want to be tuning into our bodies, bringing in that Taurus wisdom as we take the next appropriate steps at a pace that feels supportive to us, to create the foundations for what we are moving into and what we are moving towards in a very sustainable way that will support us in the long term. So whether that is that you are writing a book, or you have a long-term writing vision or creative vision for your project or your practice, or whether this is putting the foundations in practice for your life and your business that will ultimately support you to do those things, that will support you to move into more of your creative practice. Now is the time, this week in particular, to slow down, to check in with your body, and to take the next steps at an appropriate pace so that you are creating the foundations for the life that you're stepping into, with lots of support from Gemini and from Mercury in this coming Gemini season. But we want to, especially this week, do that slowly. Take those steps at a pace that feels grounded and embodied for us, so that we can alchemize the healing that we need in order to open our channels, to receive more light, to create new structures and forms through our writing and our practice. And so I want to complete with a reading. And this is quite a heady one. I've been putting this off for a few weeks because it's quite heady. It's from Sexing the Cherry by Jeanette Winterson. But what I loved about this, and it does have a strong Gemini energy, is that it opens, that through language, through writing, we're opened to new possibilities and new potentials and ideas that are beyond our physical grasp, beyond our physical intellect and experience, and that open us up through a connectivity, through that conductivity of Mercury, opening us up through language to new possibilities, new ideas, new potentials, and to that wisdom that is beyond our 3D reality. So this is what I'd like to read for you. Outside of the rules of daily time, not to be is as exact as to be. We can't talk about all that the universe contains, because to do so would be to render it finite, and we know in some way that we cannot prove that it is infinite. So what the universe doesn't contain is as significant to us as what it does. There will be a moment, though of course it won't be a moment, when we will know, though of course it won't, though knowing will no longer be separate from being. That we are a part of all we have met, and that all we have met was already a part of us. Until now, religion has described it better than science, but now physics and metaphysics appear to be saying the same thing. The world is flat and round, is it not? We have dreams of moving back and forward in time, though to use the words back and forward is to make a nonsense of the dream, for it implies that time is linear, and that if that was so, there could be no movement, only a forward progression. But we do not move through time. Time moves through us. I say this because our physical bodies have a natural decay span. They are one-use only units that crumble around us. To everyone, this is a surprise. Although we see it in parents and our friends, we are always amazed to see it in ourselves. The most prosaic of us betray a belief in the inward life every time we talk about my body rather than I. We feel it as absolutely part, but not at all part of who we are. Language always betrays us, tells the truth when we want to lie, and dissolves into formlessness when we would most like to be precise. And so we cannot move back and forth in time, but we can experience it in a different way. If all time is eternally present, there is no reason why we should not step out of one present into another. The inward life tells us that we are multiple, not single, and that our one existence is really countless existences holding hands like those cut-out paper dolls, but unlike the dolls, never coming to an end. When we say, I have been here before, perhaps we mean, I am here now, but in another life, another time, doing something else. Our lives could be stacked together like plates on a waiter's hand. Only the top is showing, but the rest are there, and by mistake, we discover them. Our inward life of pure time is sluggish or fast-flowing, depending on our rate of conductivity. Just as certain metals and alloys, when suitably cooled, conduct electricity without generating any heat, and therefore without losing any of the energy they are carrying, so certain people may be superconductors for time. As well as experiencing time as we normally understand it, they may experience time as a larger, all-encompassing dimension, and so be in touch with much more than the present. Artists and gurus are, in the language of science, superconductors. Our rate of conductivity is probably determined by an ability, learned or innate, to make the foreground into the background, so that the distractions of the everyday no longer take up our energy. Monks and contemplatives have tried to achieve this by withdrawing from the world. Utter concentration, trance-like concentration, is what is needed. Passion, delirium, meditation, even out of body, are words we use to describe the heightened condition of superconductivity. It is certainly true that a criterion for true art as opposed to its cunning counterfeit, is its ability to take us where the artist has been, to this other different place where we are free from the problems of gravity. When we are drawn into the art, we are drawn out of ourselves. We are no longer bound by matter. Matter has become what it is, empty space and light. So may you be the superconductor of your passion, of the light that wants to flow through you, of the new forms and structures and possibilities that you are here to earth and ground and to co-create. And yet may you take that journey at your own pace, especially this week, preparing the ground, preparing your physical body as a vessel, preparing your energy field, opening up your channels with protection to prepare you for that journey into superconductivity. That is Gemini season in full flow, when Mercury comes out of its shadow period next week. We will be beginning to access these new levels of superconductivity. So this week, we're still in preparation. We're preparing our bodies. We are preparing our minds. So to complete, my last video ended rather abruptly, and I just want to complete this week's tarot and astrology by wishing you all well. Thank you for being here with me. I always love to hear your experiences and how these energies are showing up for you. So please do connect with me. You can drop me a comment here on YouTube. You can connect with me on Facebook or Instagram at Writing Thriving. And I do love to be in touch with you and hear your experiences and how these energies are showing up for you this week. Thank you so much for being with me and for joining me through this deep dive into Gemini season. I'm wishing you well, and I'm sending you lots of love.